Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're continuing that series episode talking about each individual NHL team and their fantasy relevance. Basically, I'm going to break down their players that could be fantasy relevant, and I'll tell you guys if I'm drafting that player or not. This episode is obviously about the New Jersey Devils. Before we get started though, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year, guys, so every subscription would mean the world to me. Now, let's jump right into the New Jersey Devils' lines. And their top line is probably going to be Kuokkanen, Jack Hughes, and Sharangovich like it was last year. That second line, I'm projecting Tatar Hischier and Jesper Bratt. And on that third line, Foote, Zacha, and Miles Wood. On defense, Graves, Hamilton, Ty Smith, Severson, Siegenthaler, and PK Subban. In nets, we've got Blackwood and Jonathan Bernier. So now jumping into the players that I'm going to be talking about, and first on the list, guys, is Dougie Hamilton. Last year had 42 points in 55 games. Keep in mind, though, guys, that was with Carolina. I have him ranked a few spots lower than his current ADP, which is 42.5. I have him ranked closer to 50, but not a huge deal. Just be wary that obviously his numbers could drop playing with a slightly worse team. But, he still has an insanely safe floor given how much this guy shoots. So I'm not too worried drafting Dougie Hamilton where he's currently being drafted. Next is MacKenzie Blackwood, and last year he didn't have the most amazing season in the world, getting only 14 wins in 35 games, but the Devils are looking like a much better team this year. They've improved their offense, adding Thomas Tatar. They've improved their defense, adding Dougie Hamilton and Ryan Graves, so MacKenzie Blackwood should be able to pull a few more wins than he did last year, although they do play in a pretty tough division, so I'm not expecting him to get a crazy amount of wins. But unlike last year, you're not only playing teams within that division, so he should still be able to string along a pretty good amount of wins. I don't hate him at all where he's currently being drafted, about 104. Next is Ty Smith, and last year he had a pretty great breakout season, right? He had 23 points in 48 games. Unfortunately, though, 1/3 of his points were scored on the power play, and it looks like Dougie Hamilton's probably going to be taking over that top power play time now. So Ty Smith is not going to be able to have as much upside as he did last year because he's not going to be getting that top power play time. And that's why I'm not drafting him this year, especially at his range. Next on the list, guys, is Jack Hughes. Had 31 points in 56 games last year. That's not amazing, but all signs point to positive goal regression, right? His shooting percentage was only 7.75. He could do a lot better than that. He's a really talented kid. He shot the puck a lot, so I'm not worried about the goals coming. And I'm predicting a breakout season incoming, guys. Now he's got a full season with those guys, Sharangovich and Kuokkanen, as his line mates. Those guys were rookies last year. Now they're used to the NHL. They have the chemistry already. I think they can only get better. Jack Hughes can only get better. And I really am predicting a really, really big season for Jack Hughes this year. Another big thing is Jack Hughes only had 7 points on the power play last year, and that was the 4th worst power play in the entire NHL. With the addition of Dougie Hamilton, that power play could get a lot better, and Jack Hughes' numbers could go way up. Next is Jonathan Bernier, and last year, look at those stats. He was playing for the Detroit Red Wings. Those are pretty good stats considering you were playing for arguably the worst team in the NHL, right? Look at that save percentage. He's a very good goalie. He's going to be a great backup. Unfortunately, MacKenzie Blackwood should be the locked-in starter in New Jersey. I don't see Bernier necessarily getting more than 25-30% of the starts. However, if Blackwood struggles and Bernier starts getting a little bit more starts, he might be worth a look. I'm not drafting him, though, as of right now. Next is Nico Hischier, and I'm not convinced that Nico Hischier will ever live up to his #1 draft pick hype. He's just been mediocre. He's going to be centering that second line this year, probably with Thomas Tatar. So I'm not necessarily drafting this guy unless I'm in a really deep league, but I'll keep an eye out for him. If he starts performing really well, obviously he has the potential to really kill it, but I need to see it first before I draft this guy. Next is PK Subban, and last year was another disappointing year as everybody projected. Only 19 points in 44 games, and he was a hard negative plus-minus player as well. Just not a great player to draft, and it's the same thing this year. Why he's being drafted in 14% of leagues, I don't know. There's rumors that he's going to be traded, but even if he does get traded, he's likely not going to be a power play 1 defenseman anywhere, so there's not much value in PK Subban at all, in my opinion. Next are Yegor Sharangovich and Yanni Kuokkanen. Jack Hughes' line mates. And like I projected earlier, I see Jack Hughes having a monstrous season. And these guys are going to be his line mates on that top line, possibly on the power play as well. So these guys could also have pretty great seasons, right? I like Sharangovich, though, a little bit more than Kuokkanen because Sharangovich shoots the puck more, so he has a little bit safer of a floor. Now, the nice thing about Kuokkanen is he's only being drafted in 2% of leagues, so you don't really have to worry about someone else taking him. He's someone you can keep a close eye on and pick up early in the season if he's performing well. He's not someone that you have to be drafting because you're worried about someone else taking him. Next are Thomas Tatar and Pavel Zacha, and they're two wait-and-see guys for me. It depends where they end up in the lineup and if they get a good start of season going right away. If Tatar ends up on that second line with Hischier and he starts getting that chemistry, starts performing, I might consider picking him up. But as of right now, I'm not drafting him. Plus, he's only being drafted in 10% of leagues anyway, so it's not like you have to worry about someone else grabbing him. Same thing with Zacha. Right now, he's looking like he's probably going to be the third line center. So if that's where he ends up, I'm probably going to stay away, but we'll have to wait and see. And last but not least is Ryan Graves. And he's been someone who's been decent in fantasy because he has decent all-around stats. Like his plus minus is usually pretty good. He blocks some shots, he hits a little bit, and he shoots the puck a decent amount. He shoots about a couple times a game. So yeah, there's a little bit of upside there, but going to New Jersey, that's not as good of a team as Colorado. He was on Colorado in the past, so obviously that plus minus was going to be better. And this year on New Jersey, I just don't see much upside. So I'm staying far away from Ryan Graves. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really, really appreciate it. Please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And guys, I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.